Hi guys, we're here for the SM2SM Run Year 5 and live here in the Y101 studios we have one of the celebrity endorsers for the SM2SM Run 5, that's the SM2SM Year 5. We have Amale Jopson. Hi Amale.
Hi Jiggy.
Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm great.
Good to hear that. Amale, tell us a little bit more about how you got into this whole running thing.
Yeah, well, it's really interesting. I actually joined my first run, Jiggy, when I was 12 years old. It was a Sunstar Fun Run. And it was a 3K run from their office along Osmeña Boulevard to Baseline. So that was my first run. But and it was just, you know, a fun thing that I wanted to do with my sister and some of my friends, and we did it. But after that, you know, there was a really long period where I didn't really run. How I really got into running was as a Rotary Exchange student in Bellevue, Iowa, which is a little tiny town.
2,000 people you mentioned.
2,000 people, yeah. And you know, in the US, they've got their sports all figured out per season. And I got there in the fall, and one of the sports that they have in the fall is cross-country running.
Wow. Yeah,
so cross-country running is basically a format for running where you run, it's on different kinds of terrain. Usually on grass, and it's a 3K format for girls, and that's how, you know, the principal and the coach for the team recruited me into the team, and that's how I got into it, and that's how I learned about running, all of the different tips, how to train, and that's how I really fell in love with running.
You know, you obviously have been dominating the running scene here in Cebu and maybe even in the Philippines. What do you think, how are women doing in this sport, especially the Filipino women? How are we doing in terms of competing with our friends here in Cebu, even in the Philippines, or even worldwide on a global scale, global stage?
Yeah, well, I think locally here in the Philippines, our Filipino runners are actually doing much better than the men. If we take the perspective of how they are doing against the Kenyan runners, that, you know, our Kenyan visitors, our Kenyan runner friends who are here. Because, for example, Mary Joy Tabal, she really tends to dominate, and she can beat the Kenyan runners here. Whereas, you know, some of our male runners, the Kenyans tend to really take the top.
Are unbeatable.
I wouldn't say
not
unbeatable.
Yet, not yet.
No, I wouldn't say unbeatable, but just in terms of relative comparison, right? And in Southeast Asia, again, our runners are doing quite well. So I think we've been leveling up, at least in terms of, let's say, 21K, maybe the marathon. Asia-wide, worldwide, I think we're a little bit far from that, but you know, it's not something that's unrealistic if we start really working on the grassroots. Really, you know, at the youth, that's where you have to start. That's how you develop the sport.
You mentioned in a previous interview on the radio, since this is television, that the Boston Marathon is like the biggest and the most important marathon in the world, right? One of them, at least.
Yes.
What was, or who was the best performing Filipino on today? I mean, is there anybody out there who you can name? Was it you who performed best as far as Filipinas are concerned?
Well, my Boston Marathon time was not my best time,
okay.
So I really don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know. Yeah, I don't have the answer to that. Well, the Boston Marathon is the most prestigious because it's the oldest running. It's also a world marathon major, and you do have to qualify to get in. But I don't know what our best time has been.
You know, how many years have they been doing this? 118 years?
118 years. Yeah.
Wow. And you know, which brings me to the SM2SM Year 5.
Yes.
You've only been doing this for 5 years, but they've learned a lot from the Boston Marathon and the other big marathons in the world. Can you tell us a little bit more about the SM2SM Year 5?
Yeah. Well, I've joined every single version of the SM2SM.
From the beginning, right?
From the beginning, from the first year. And I have to say that it's, the first year they didn't have 21K, 12K was the longest format. And I have to say that the SM2SM 21K is the best 21K in Cebu. Even at least from a technical organization perspective, which is important to me, and I think it's important to a lot of runners. And some of the things that they've really got it right is, number one, it's a good course that is traffic free, that's completely closed.
Completely closed.
International standards, you have to completely close the road because number one, for safety reasons, and number two, the runner shouldn't have to worry, like you were saying earlier, about getting killed, right? I mean, the runner is there to think about the race, and that's it. So from a technical perspective, they've got that right. They've got hydration stations, right? They have all of the hydration that we need, and it's a nice course. It's a PR course because it's relatively flat. There's only one hill. So you can really set a personal record in that course.
The SM2SM Year 5 happening this Feb 22, right?
Feb 22.
So why don't you invite them one more time?
All right.
Wrap this interview up.
Obviously, I'm a fan. For everyone who has ever actually run the SM2SM run, they have all but good things to say about it. There's a technical organization and there's great loot bags, beautiful medals, and fantastic raffle prizes, at the end. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So please join the SM2SM run. That's on Feb 22. And by the way, the deadline for registration for the 21K and the 12K is coming up. That's Feb 10. So if you want to get in, you better register now.
All right. Thank you so much, Amale Jopson.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.